Have you ever wondered how an entire civilization rebuilt itself from complete destruction? The Book of Ezra reveals one of history's most incredible comeback stories that changed the world forever. Picture this. Jerusalem lies in ruins, the temple destroyed, and God's chosen people scattered across a foreign empire. For 70 years it seemed like the end of everything they believed in. But then something extraordinary happened that would reshape religious history. The Book of Ezra chronicles two massive waves of Jewish people returning from Babylonian exile to rebuild their homeland. This isn't just ancient history. It's a masterclass in leadership, faith, and cultural preservation that speaks directly to our modern struggles with identity and belonging. Let me take you inside this fascinating story that most people completely misunderstand. Our journey begins in 538 BC when Cyrus the Great, ruler of the Persian Empire, makes a shocking decree. This pagan king announces that the Jewish people can return to Jerusalem and rebuild their temple. Why would a foreign ruler do this? Cyrus believed that supporting local religions would strengthen his empire's stability. But for the Jews, this felt like divine intervention after decades of captivity. The first major return happens under Zerubbabel's leadership around 537 BC. Nearly 50,000 people undertake this dangerous journey across hundreds of miles of desert. Think about that commitment, leaving established lives in Babylon to rebuild a devastated homeland they'd only heard about in stories. When they arrive in Jerusalem, the reality hits hard. The city is basically rubble. Wild animals roam the streets. The infrastructure is completely gone. Yet these returnees immediately prioritize rebuilding the altar and resuming religious sacrifices. This tells us everything about their values. Worship comes before comfort. The temple reconstruction begins with incredible enthusiasm. The foundation-laying ceremony becomes an emotional roller coaster. Younger people celebrate wildly while elderly survivors of the original temple weep, remembering Solomon's magnificent structure. Their tears mix joy with grief as they realize this new temple will never match the former glory. But opposition emerges quickly. Local populations who had settled in the region during the exile feel threatened by these returnees. They offer to help build the temple, but Zerubbabel refuses their assistance. This decision creates lasting enemies who spend years sabotaging the construction project. The opposition gets so intense that work completely stops for about 15 years. Imagine having this divine mandate to rebuild God's house, then facing such overwhelming resistance that you just give up. The people lose focus, building their own comfortable homes while God's temple remains incomplete. Everything changes when two prophets, Haggai and Zechariah, arrive on the scene. They deliver powerful messages challenging the people's priorities. Haggai essentially asks, "Why are you living in fancy houses while my house lies in ruins?" This prophetic intervention reignites the building project. Now we reach the second major movement in Ezra. About 60 years later, around 458 BC, Ezra himself leads another group of returnees to Jerusalem. But Ezra brings something different. He's a priest and scribe totally devoted to studying and teaching God's law. When Ezra arrives, he discovers a shocking problem. Many Jewish men, including leaders and priests, have married foreign wives who worship other gods. This intermarriage threatens the very identity and religious purity that the exile was meant to preserve. Ezra's reaction is dramatic. He tears his clothes, pulls out his hair, and sits in stunned silence. The community grapples with this crisis through public confession and painful decisions. They agree to divorce their foreign wives and send away their children. Modern readers often struggle with this harsh response, but we must understand the historical context. These people had just survived cultural annihilation. They believed that compromising their religious distinctiveness would lead to another catastrophic exile. Ezra's leadership style fascinates me. He doesn't impose solutions through force. Instead, he models grief over sin, leads by example in confession, and allows the community to reach their own conclusions. This approach creates lasting change rather than temporary compliance. The Book of Ezra teaches us profound lessons about resilience, identity, and the cost of reconstruction. These people understood that rebuilding isn't just about physical structures. It's about preserving values and purpose across generations. Their story resonates today because we all face moments requiring difficult choices between convenience and conviction. Whether rebuilding after personal setbacks, preserving cultural heritage, or standing for principles under pressure, Ezra's example provides timeless wisdom. The book ultimately shows us that true restoration requires both external reconstruction and internal reformation. You can rebuild the temple, but without renewed hearts, the structure becomes meaningless. What aspects of your own life need this kind of intentional rebuilding? Sometimes the greatest comebacks start with the courage to tear down what isn't working and commit fully to what matters most.